Hey guys, this is the third lecture on LOC, that is on a very important concept, oxidation number, or it is also called oxidation state. ON, oxidation number, OS, oxidation state. They are one and the same. And also towards the end we talk about what is covalency. In our earlier video we learnt about electrovalency, but we shall also know what is covalency towards the end. But this video we are entirely concentrating on the concept of oxidation number or oxidation state, right? So let us start. Now oxidation number is a theoretical concept that was in fact introduced for covalent molecules, and it became so popular. The oxidation number or oxidation state term is so popular that it has now replaced the term valency. Everyone is speaking, what's the oxidation number of chromium here? What's the oxidation number of aluminum there? So nobody is bothering to say the term valency. So it has completely revolutionized the study of chemical reactions, particularly inorganic reactions, not organic, inorganic reactions. So this concept was originated from a theoretical consideration. It is a handy theoretical tool to monitor the electron transfer in a redox reaction involving covalent compounds. And it is a hypothetical charge, it's not a real charge. It is a hypothetical charge on each atom in a covalent molecule or ion based on complete electron transfer of a covalent bond pair to the more electronegative atom. Hold on. Don't worry if you are not able to pick up. Oxidation number concept gives a strong logic to chemical reactions and helps predicting the products. Although the basic faulty assumption that polar covalent bonds are completely ionized, which is not the truth. Now, say, for example, this is a covalent molecule, water. This is a covalent molecule, say ammonia. These are two covalent bonds, two single bonds. And in each single bond, as you know, one electron is contributed by this, and the other electron is contributed by the other atom, like this. Now supposing you imagine that all the bond pairs are broken down and they are transferred to the more electronegative atom. Hypothetically, water is not an ionic compound, it is a covalent compound, but it has polarity. Because it has polarity, polar covalent bond, if you are still not able to follow what is polar covalent bond, cool. Don't worry. It will automatically be taught to you in later times. Now if these two electrons, they are transferred to oxygen, these two electrons also to oxygen, then oxygen will have two additional electrons. Therefore, its oxidation number is -2. It's a theoretical charge. If you treat a covalent molecule or a covalent bond as an ionic bond, you just presume that a covalent bond, a polar covalent bond, is an ionic bond. So that you presume there has been a transfer, complete transference that like happens in an ionic bond, that has happened, and the amount of charge that each atom, I repeat, each atom carries, that is called the oxidation number. So let us read this definition. Oxidation number is the hypothetical charge that would develop on each atom, I repeat, each atom in a covalent molecule or ion, if it is a polyatomic covalent ion, if all the bond pairs of electrons are transferred to the more electronegative atoms. This is called a heterolytic cleavage. Just I am introducing a new term to you, that is called heterolytic cleavage or breakage. If the two electrons of a covalent bond is transferred to only one atom, that means one atom loses, the other atom gains one electron, then it is called heterolytic cleavage. Only when there are two identical atoms, when the two atoms are identical and the bond is purely non-polar, it is a pure covalent bond, no polarity, then the electron transfer takes place homolytically. That means supposing this is chlorine, this is chlorine, and if there is a breakage, all these hypothetical, then this will get back its own electron, this will get back its own electron. This is a very uncommon arrow mark, a fish hook arrow that represents one electron shift. This fish hook arrow, but if it is a polar covalent bond, then we presume that both the electrons are transferred to the more electronegative atom. Supposing this is more electronegative atom. This cleavage is called heterolytic cleavage. But this cleavage, where each atom gets back its own electron, that is called homolytic cleavage. So I use the term, it takes place, the electron transfer takes place homolytically, so that each atom gets back its own electron. Thereby, no theoretical charge develops. The charge is zero. But in this case, since X has lost its own electron, it will be having +1, and Y will be gaining an additional electron, it will be -1. So, in case the two atoms are identical, no charge separation, no charge formation. But if they are not same, then definitely the more electronegative atom will gain and the less electronegative atom will lose. So remember this very, very carefully, that ON, what is ON? Oxidation number is determined for a single atom. For a single atom. So is it okay? Is it right correctly? Very good. So this oxidation number term has become so popular that it has completely replaced the term valency. Whether it is electrovalency or covalency, we don't bother. We say, what is the oxidation state? What is the oxidation number of this atom in a molecule or an ion? So this concept has given a lot of logic to inorganic reactions. It could justify why it has happened. Why not this has happened? So most of the justifications, corroborations to inorganic reactions have been obtained from the study of oxidation numbers. So let us study this very, very meticulously. Okay. Now similarly, I have taken another molecule, say sulfuric acid. You forget about the bond structure. It is not now in your domain. If some of you know the bond structure, or you know some different bond structure of sulfuric acid, stay cool, don't worry. You just think that if I tell you this as the bond structure, the Lewis structure as we say for sulfuric acid, now tell me, if the electron pairs are transferred in a hypothetical basis, then what theoretical charge that sulfur will carry on its head? That is the oxidation number. Now this is a double bond, this is a double bond, this is a single bond. So sulfur will lose, these two are sulfur's electron, these two are sulfur's electron, this one and this one. These 6 belong to sulfur, and others belong to oxygen. So now tell me, when all the bonds are broken in a theoretical manner, then all the bond pairs are transferred to oxygen atoms. Then what charge that sulfur atom acquires? Obviously +6. So the oxidation number or oxidation state of sulfur is +6. Now since this is a hypothetical charge, so to distinguish between a real charge and a hypothetical charge, the convention says that you give the plus minus sign first. So the plus minus sign is prefixed to the numerical value. It's +2, -3, +4, +6, not 2 minus, 3 minus, 6 plus, 4 plus. No, this will mean a real charge. If it is ionized in aqueous solution or anywhere, it is carrying a real charge, then you can say 2 plus, 3 minus. Like SO4, 2 minus, PO4, 3 minus. But when you are finding the oxidation number of an atom in a covalent molecule or in a covalent ion, then you don't say 3 minus or 2 plus. You say -2, +2, like that. So just a convention. If you say 2 minus for oxidation number, heaven is not going to fall. So don't worry. So that is the convention that we follow, that first sign, then the numerical. Now see this case. How important it is to learn, to know the structure to determine the correct oxidation number. But in the beginner stage like you, I will be telling you some rules to find out oxidation number. But when you advance in your journey in chemistry and learn chemical bonding, then you must be very cautious while telling the oxidation number of an atom. Now see, this is thiosulfuric acid, H2S2O3. The structure is similar to sulfuric acid, but here is a sulfur atom, right? Now, if same thing happens, but what about sulfur-sulfur? I told you, when the two atoms are identical, then the bond separation, the bond breaking takes place homolytically. So that is shown by a fish hook arrow mark. So this sulfur gets back its own electron, so no charge. If only one gets an additional electron from somebody else, it steals somebody else's electron, then minus charge. If it loses electron, plus charge. But sulfur loses 1 electron to the left, 1 electron to the right, 2 electrons to the bottom. So no electron it loses to the top, because it gets back its own electron. So for this bond cleavage, bond breakage, no extra charge. So only towards the oxygen side, it will lose 4 electrons. So it will be carrying, its oxidation number will be +4, and 0 is the oxidation number of this sulfur atom. So the average oxidation number that we will find by using rules, it will be +4 + 0 by 2, +2. So +2 is not the oxidation number of anyone. Therefore, when you apply the rules, you must have to take some precautions. Otherwise, you just say it could be average. If more than one atom of a particular element is present, like in this case, you say it could be the average oxidation state. Individual oxidation state I can't tell now because I have not studied chemical bond. Therefore, be satisfied with the average value. Right? So whenever you find an element, an atom is occurring more than once belonging to a particular element, so the oxidation number that you find by following the rule will be an average one. Let us now study the rules. Determination of oxidation number, knowledge of covalent bond structure is required to find the ON atoms correctly. However, for simple molecules, a few rules can be applied by the beginners like you to find ON. In case of compound containing more than one atom of a particular element, as I just told you, often we get an average oxidation number of an atom. In that case, we need to know the bonded structure to find the correct oxidation number of each such atom. So if you do not know the structure, be polite and concede that I'm sorry, I am not able to tell you the oxidation number of the individual atom. Now let us study the rules. First rule: the oxidation number of an atom in the uncombined state or elementary state is 0. If it doesn't lose an electron, it doesn't gain an electron, it is in the uncombined or elementary state, then the oxidation number is 0. As we used to call valency is 0, but now we shall say oxidation state is 0. And even in a molecule, diatomic molecule, triatomic molecule like this, it will be 0 for each atom. I have already told you, if the two atoms are same, then the cleavage will take place in a homolytic manner. Each will get back its own electron, so each will have a charge 0. So also phosphorus, so also sulfur, so each of them will have a oxidation number 0. I remind you, these are not real cleavages, these are hypothetical. We are presuming a covalent bond to behave like an ionic bond. For this one, there is no heterolytic cleavage, nobody will get charge, but if at all there will be cleavage, there will be homolytic, and each will be having 0 charge. Now the second rule: oxidation number of oxygen is always -2, except in 4 cases. These exceptions you must remember. Peroxide, that is -1, because O2 2-. So if 2 oxygen enjoys a charge of 2-, then for 1 oxygen the charge is -1. Now I can show you a bond structure. This is the bond structure of peroxide ion. Since the two are identical, there will be homolytic cleavage, so no charge for this cleavage. But already this oxygen has a -1 charge on its head from other source. It has already acquired. And this also has -1 charge. So each oxygen has a -1 charge. Oxidation number is -1, right? Now, a superoxide is another one. This is O2 single minus. If 2 oxygen enjoys a charge of -1, so per 1 atom it will be -half. So here the oxidation number is fractional. Now it's not easy at this stage to explain the bond structure. In fact, bond structure is not possible. The valence bond theory has terribly failed for the case of superoxide ion. The molecular orbital theory has explained all this phenomena. So we will not discuss about, if you are really curious to know what is the bond structure of a superoxide ion, I am sorry, I will not tell you now. It's not possible to give you a convincing bond structure. But since oxidation number is determined for a single atom, therefore just for 2 atoms, if the charge is 1-, then for 1 atom the charge will be -half. Oxygen difluoride is another exception, OF2. Now see, oxygen was more electronegative than all elements, but it is not more electronegative to fluorine. Fluorine is more electronegative. So if there is a charge separation, if there is a bond breaking, then oxygen will lose. Oxygen will lose on both the sides, so it will lose 2 of its own electrons. So the theoretical charge that it would develop is +2. So in OF2, oxidation number of oxygen is +2. Similarly, in O2F2, O2F2 is like this. Right? So this is a peroxy linkage, so no gain, no loss. Only this will lose to fluorine, will be +1, and this will lose to fluorine +1. So each will be having an oxidation number of +1. I repeatedly, I'm saying you that oxidation number is determined for a single atom. Then the third rule, the oxidation number of hydrogen is always +1, but exception is metallic hydride like sodium hydride, calcium hydride. I should not write -2 here. Although for one hydrogen, if it is -1, then for two hydrogen it will be -2. But when you write above the head, the oxidation number, you have to write per atom. Oxidation number is determined for a single atom. So for metallic hydride, since metal is less electronegative, that means more electropositive, so it will lose and hydrogen will gain. Therefore, hydrogen is -1. Otherwise, in all other compounds of hydrogen with non-metals, it is +1. Say for example, ammonia. Although we have a habit of writing NH3, not H3N, but then also hydrogen is +1, not -1. It's not a metallic hydride, although we write in a different style, NH3, not H3N. Now, next rule is the oxidation number of monoatomic ions, the ions which is made up of a single atom, is equal to its charge or valency. For example, fluoride, chloride ion, bromide ion, all -1, -1. Charge was 1 minus, 2 minus, but now we are talking about oxidation number. So just reverse the order. -1, -1, -1. And oxide ion, -2, nitride, -3, sulfide, -2, phosphide, -3. So in case of metal ions, it is sodium +1, calcium +2, aluminum +3, ferric +3, and so on, right? And the next rule is oxidation number of fluorine is always -1 in a compound, because it is the most electronegative element in the entire periodic table. So its oxidation number is always -1 in a compound. That doesn't mean that in fluorine molecule it is -1. It is 0. It is on combined state. I'm talking of molecule in a combined state. Right? A compound. And last but not the least, sum of the oxidation number in a neutral molecule is 0. Just like in an ionic compound, the positive charge and negative charge, they balance. Similarly, in a covalent compound or in a covalent ion, as we shall see in the next rule, that the sum of the oxidation numbers is also 0. For example, we take the oxidation number to find the oxidation number of sulfur in sulfuric acid. So by rule number, I think 3, hydrogen has a +1 oxidation state. So let us calculate. For one hydrogen atom, if the oxidation number is +1, then for 2 atoms it will be 2 into +1. Plus, supposing sulfur has an oxidation number X. Plus, if one oxygen, rule number 2, has an oxidation number of -2, so 4 oxygen atoms will have a total theoretical charge or oxidation number 4 into -2. And that will be equal to 0 because it's a neutral molecule. So if you calculate, then it will come X is equal to +6. You have to write plus. Although by writing simply 6, it will mean +6. But customarily, we have to put a sign, either plus or minus. Here it is plus. So just above sulfur, you write +6. It's better if you just encircle it, just to distinguish, just to say that, to convey that it's not a real charge. It's merely a hypothetical charge called oxidation number. And the last rule, the sum of oxidation number in a polyatomic ion is equal to the charge of the ion. For example, you take nitrate ion. This is not a neutral molecule. This is an ion. So for that, the sum of the oxidation numbers is not 0. It has to be equal to the charge. Say nitrogen has an oxidation number of X, right? We are going to find the oxidation number of nitrogen. Plus, for 3 oxygen, 3 into minus 2. For 1 oxygen, minus 2. For 3 oxygen, 3 into minus 2. And the sum is equal to minus 1 because the net charge of the ion is minus 1. It is monovalent negative ion. So, we can calculate X is equal to plus 5. Plus 5. So, you write the value of oxidation number here just above with a circle, that it is not a real charge, it is merely an oxidation state, plus 5. So these are the simple rules you can apply at this stage to find the oxidation number. That will be correct if the molecule is simple or an ion is simple, containing one central atom, sulfur, nitrogen, chlorine. It will be correct. But if more than one atoms are there of a particular element, it is absolutely not, it will not be correct. It will be merely the average. So, let us now apply the rules that we have learned to find out the oxidation number. Tell me, you tell me. Let me see you all. Are you following me very, very meticulously? Yes? Carry on. I am behind you. I am not going anywhere. So intermittently I will be coming to expose myself, to have a familiarity with you. So never mind, we are here only to study things and go ahead in the journey of our chemical learning, right? Okay. Now tell me, iodine, what will be the oxidation number of iodine? Each iodine? Obviously 0. Why? Because it is in the uncombined elementary state. In elementary uncombined state, if it is an element, then even if it is a diatomic molecule or a triatomic molecule, each of them will have 0. Now tell me, in ferric sulfate, what is the oxidation number of iron, underlined element? Obviously its valency is 3 plus, it will be plus 3. So it is plus 3. Why? Because rule number 4, I guess, doesn't matter. The order is not important. In one of the rules we knew that for a monoatomic ion, the oxidation number is equal to its charge. So since the ferric ion has a charge 3 plus, the oxidation number is plus 3. Simply like that. But some beginners, they want to make some algebraic calculations. For example, take iron as X, this is 2X. And they take whole sulfate ion as a whole. Because supposing you do not know what is the oxidation number of sulfur. Therefore, they take the entire sulfate ion and they take 3 sulfate ion, so that is 3 into minus 2, that is minus 6, is equal to 0. So then it comes X is equal to plus 3. So they do it in a roundabout way, but without understanding that you can apply the rule number 4, that a monoatomic radical or ion has the oxidation number same as its valency or charge. So what is the need of doing all these calculations? So wasting time. This is barium peroxide. Barium is 2 plus, O2 2 minus, this is peroxide. I guess by now you must be very, very conversant in writing formula. You must not be doing any error in writing formula. If you are following me very strictly, then your formula writing should be very, very confident. Now, barium peroxide, simply you know peroxide. In peroxide, one of the exceptions that oxygen has an oxidation number of minus 1. Or if you have a lot of extra time, you can also perform algebra. Barium is plus 2, its valency is plus 2, so plus 2. Plus 2x, supposing oxygen is X, is equal to 0 because it's a neutral molecule, so X is coming minus 1. So why to need this roundabout way? Since you know it's a peroxide, so per atom, is oxidation number is -1. Right? Now go for phosphoric acid. So for 3 hydrogen atoms, 3 into +1 plus X, supposing phosphorus is X, plus 4 into -2 is equal to 0. So that gives you, this is 8 and -8 plus 8, then -3 should be +5. So phosphorus has an oxidation state of +5. Dichromate ion. Let's say chromium is X, because we always determine the oxidation number for a single atom. So for 2 chromium atoms, 2X minus plus 7 into -2. There are 7 oxygen atoms. 7 2s are -14 is equal to -2 because it's an ion. The total charge is 2 minus, so it is -2, and if you calculate, it will be coming +6. 7 2s are -14, plus 14 divided by plus 14, -2 is 12, by 2, 6. So you just write down above chromium 6, just round off. To indicate it's not the real charge, like this is the real charge. But this is not the real charge. It is a hypothetical charge, as we call oxidation number. Let's say potassium permanganate. And say potassium, monoatomic ion. Its valence is always +1, alkali metals. It is in the group 1. So +1, say manganese is X. And oxygen is -2. For each oxygen is -2, there are 4. So 4 into -2, and that is equal to 0. Unlike the previous case, which was an ion, this is a neutral molecule. So if you calculate, then X will be +7. You practice of your own. I hope you must have paused before I answered this and checked with me whether you have done correctly or not. I told you, whenever you are studying with me and something comes, some self-assessment question comes, then you pause the video and do of your own, and then start the video to check whether it's going correctly or not. Right? Shall we proceed? Okay. Copper. Copper is a metal. It is an uncombined state. So it is uncombined means it is 0. Simply copper. It's not a compound. Has it been a compound, then it could have been +2 or +1, doesn't matter. But this is an uncombined metal atom. So that is 0. So oxidation number is placed just above the atom, preferably inside a circular space, as it is not a real charge in a covalent molecule or a polyatomic covalent ion. Now, let us make further practice. And I strongly urge upon you to stop the video, to pause the video, and you find out the oxidation number of chlorine in all these. Then oxidation numbers of sulfur in all these. Then you check with me, right? So let me do. For perchlorate, this is called perchlorate ion. Say chlorine is X. And 4 oxygen, 4 2s are -8 is equal to -1. Since the net charge is -1. It's not a molecule, it's an ion. So X is equal to +7. So chlorine oxidation state is +7. This is chloric acid. So hydrogen is +1. Hydrogen is +1. Chlorine is say X. And 3 2s are -6 is equal to 0. So X is equal to +5. Sodium chloride is -1 because it is a monoatomic radical, monoatomic ion. I am sorry, I have 2 times I have called a radical. I myself told you not to use the term radical now because radical is a misnomer so far as the ions are concerned. Previously they were called radicals, but radical term is mostly used in organic chemistry. You will be knowing later. So chloride is a monoatomic ion, it is -1. But if you have time to waste, then you say sodium is +1, plus 1 plus x is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus 1. If you want to do algebra, who prevents you to do so? You can do that. But since it is a monoatomic ion, minus 1. Simply minus 1. Alright? Now, chloride ion. This is an ion. Say chlorine is x and oxygen, 2 oxygen minus 4 is equal to minus 1. Is equal to minus 1, not 0. So x is equal to plus 3. Hypochlorous acid, HOCl. So hydrogen is plus 1 and oxygen is minus 2. Always rule number 2. Hydrogen is always plus 1 except metal hydride, and plus x is equal to 0. So x is coming plus 1. So in hypochlorous acid it is plus 1. Then let us do this. Sulfur in all this. It is a monoatomic ion, so it is minus 2. If you are still not happy, then perform algebra for 2 hydrogen atom plus 2 and sulfur x is equal to 0, x is equal to minus 2. Who prevents you to act like a foolish person? Now here there are 2 sulfur atoms. So what we will be getting is the average value. We do not know the structure. Although I have drawn the structure in my first or second slide, but you are not supposed to know that at this stage. So this is thiosulfate ion. Just do it by algebra. Supposing X is the sulfur's oxidation number. So there are 2 sulfur atoms. So 2x and 3 oxygen, 3 2s are minus 6 is equal to minus 2. So X is coming plus 2. So you write down that. You write down that. No harm. This is elemental sulfur, 0. Elemental sulfur. So this is SO2. Say x is equal to x and minus 4 is equal to 0. So x is equal to plus 4. And this is again 4 sulfur atoms. Again you get an average value. Tetrathionate ion. This is called tetrathionate ion. So 4x minus 12 is equal to minus 2. So x is equal to 10 by 4, 5 by 2, plus 5 by 2 or plus 2.5. Right? So undoubtedly, this is not the oxidation number of every sulfur. It is merely an average value because there are 4 sulfur atoms. Here there are 2 sulfur atoms. Who knows? The 2 are not symmetrical. The 2 are not equivalent. It may be non-equivalent bonding. We shall see that later. Oh yes, thiosulfate ion we have already seen. Now, oxidation number of nitrogen in all these compounds. This nitrogen, this nitrogen, this. Now this is ammonium nitrate. One nitrogen is present in the positive ion, the cation, and the other nitrogen is present in the anion, the negative ion. So you cannot do it by 2x method. You have to split. This is ammonium ion, you have to do separately, and nitrate ion. So apply the x method separately, right? So here, say nitrogen is x, hydrogen is always plus, although it is written in the right side, but it is plus. It's not a metallic hydride. Plus 4 is equal to plus 1. So x is equal to minus 3. So this nitrogen, since it is coming from ammonia, so ammonium ion also nitrogen is minus 3. Then nitrate ion is coming from nitric acid. So let us do it once again. Say nitrogen is x and 3 2s are minus 6 is equal to minus 1 because it is a negative ion. So x is coming plus 5. So this is plus 5. So the ammonium nitrate has 2 types of nitrogen atoms. The cation ammonium ion has an oxidation number of minus 3 and the anion nitrate ion has the oxidation number of plus 5. Right? So this is hydrazine. Let us find out for hydrazine. 2x plus 4 is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus 2. Similarly, this is already we have done minus 3. This is 0. And this is nitrite ion. X minus 4 is equal to minus 1. So x is equal to plus 3. Nitrite ion. And this is nitric acid we have already done for nitrate ion. Same will happen. Hydrogen is plus 1. nitrogen is X, and for 3 oxygen minus 6 is equal to 0, so X is equal to plus 5. Now one thing you must know, that in a neutral molecule like nitric acid, nitrogen is plus 5 and its corresponding ion is nitrate ion. Nitrogen also will have the same oxidation state, because nitrate ion has come from nitric acid. So whatever is the oxidation number of a particular atom, say sulfuric acid, if it is plus 6 in sulfuric acid, then also plus 6 in sulfate ion. You understand? So in some cases it will be relatively simpler to ionize them and pick up an ion and find out the oxidation number. Just ignore the cation. For example, it is not required. You are given say potassium sulfate or aluminum sulfate. So and you are asked to find out the oxidation number of sulfur. So only try for sulfate ion. So sulfate ion, whether it is aluminum sulfate, sodium sulfate, potassium sulfate or sulfuric acid, sulfur will have the same oxidation number. This is what we call red lead. There are three lead atoms, 3 lead. So it will give an average value. 3x minus 8 is equal to 0. So x is equal to plus 8 by 3. Undoubtedly it is an average value. N2O nitrous acid, nitrous, the laughing gas, 2x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to plus 1. So this is plus 1. Right? Is it going all right? This is the plumbate ion, plumbate. So lead is supposing x minus 6 is equal to minus 2. So x is equal to plus 4. So this lead has an oxidation number of plus 4. This is cyanate ion, cyanate, OCN minus. So oxygen is minus 2. Carbon is supposing X. We are asked to find out the underlined atoms. Not in other cases a single atom, nitrogen or sulfur or chlorine, but here underlined atoms. Carbon is underlined. So carbon is X. And nitrogen supposing is, we take minus 3. Why we take minus 3 I will tell you later. Why we take nitrogen as minus 3 I will tell you later. Is equal to minus 1. So X is coming plus 4. Now why later? Let me tell you now. If I draw the bond structure of OCN, it is like this. You forget about the bond structure. Simply forget. Just I am drawing the bond structure to tell me that what will be the oxidation number of nitrogen if all the bonds are broken in a heterolytic manner. In a heterolytic manner, these two will come here, these two will come here, these two will come here. So nitrogen will gain 3 additional electrons. So it will be minus 3. And carbon has lost 3 electrons in the right side to nitrogen and also will lose 1 electron to the left side, oxygen. So it will have an oxidation number of plus 4. You got it? And oxygen will be as usual minus 2, minus 1 was already there and now 1 more minus. So together minus 2, because oxygen is always minus 2 except a few exceptions, right? Now ammonium chromate. Since you are asked to find out the oxidation number of chromium, you should not bother about ammonium ion. Simply you separate chromate ion with its appropriate charge, right? If you have more time to waste, then you can consider all the atoms, all the elements. Of course, for that, your knowledge of nitrogen minus 3 is to be there. Otherwise, you handle only ammonium ion as a whole is plus 1. Ammonium valency is plus 1. So it is 2 into plus 1 plus 2. So you can do that. But I am asking to do it in a very simple manner, separating into chromate ion. Simply. So in chromate ion, chromium is X and this is minus 8 is equal to minus 2. So X is coming plus 6. You could have also got the same thing had you done in a roundabout manner, like taking ammonium ion as plus 1 as a whole. So 2 ammonium ion plus 2 plus X minus 8 is equal to 0. So X is equal to plus 6. So whichever way you are interested, you can do that. So I think we should close this session, but there will be another continuous session on the advanced concept of oxidation number with paradoxical oxidation number. I have already sounded you that in molecules or ions containing an atom more than once, a particular element appearing more than once, most commonly the oxidation number that you to find out, calculate from rules, will give the average value. So looking to the average value, you think as if it is not convincing. So when the algebraic method on rules give you something which is not convincing, we say the oxidation number is paradoxical. It's a paradox. It is not convincing. Particularly when it is coming fractional. Particularly when it is coming fractional. How can electron be shared fractionally? If electron either goes to one side or doesn't go. Either 0 or -1 or +1. It cannot be plus half, minus half. So if you are finding a fractional oxidation number, then undoubtedly it is not correct. You have to go to the actual bond structure which you want at this moment. You cannot to find out the individual oxidation number. So that you have to wait for 2 minutes. I think I will just after a bit of pause, I will have that video. And after that, I'll give you a lot of assignment. Only after watching the next video, you will get a lot of assignments to practice. Bye-bye.